Welcome to another episode of Quiet Please. Today I've got Mark Carens on the podcast. He's on the bag for JJ Spaun just a few weeks ago. U.S. Open champions. It was an unbelievable week. They got off to a hot start, and then on the 18th green, he bombs like a 65-footer to win the U.S. Open. Celebration ensues, and so Mark's a great character out there, super successful caddy. We had a chance to catch up with him on Quiet Please. All right, we got him now. Mark Carens, caddy for JJ Spaun, 2025 U.S. Open champion at Oakmont. How you doing, my man?
Great. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing great. This was such a fun watch that week, a couple weeks ago now. We had my brother-in-law, my father-in-law, my nephew. They were all just JJ Spaun fans. They were Mark Carens fans. And when that putt went in on 18, we just went wild. I mean, these guys didn't know JJ, they didn't know you, but we were rooting for you. And it was an incredible moment.
Yeah, that was, from what I remember, it was totally incredible.
Well, I want to ask you about it a little bit, but like, what's the whirlwind been like since? Because here we are, I think like maybe 2 weeks removed from it. What's that been like for you?
I mean, it's been great just because I can, like, if I go to Instagram, then I always see his putt be made. And so it's still like the same. It hasn't it's hit me because finally I texted everyone back, or at least I hope, I've made sure I did. So, but yeah, it's been awesome. It's still, I guess it's sunk in, but it still hasn't really.
No. Well, yeah, that's the best part about the Instagram thing is the putt goes in again every time. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Always goes in.
Is this going to happen this time? But I know.
No, yeah. So, I mean, then how does it compare at all to like your first win with JJ? I remember catching up with you. You got on a plane. You went to the Masters. I caught up with you in the parking lot from Augusta. This was like 2-3 years ago. And then you had a nice win with Siwoo Kim at the Players. I know there's been others, but those are pretty significant ones. Like, how does this one compare? Is it not even comparable?
No, just the way that it happened, I guess. It was because he played so well, like at the beginning, and then, he played good the whole time, but then, on Sunday, just bogeying 5 of the first 6 holes, and not because you're still in it. You're like, all right, after the first bogey, you're like, okay, who cares? And then the second one, when he hits 2 great shots, hits the pin, and it comes off the green, then bogeys the next one, like, then you're like, okay, we're still in it, you know what I mean? We're in the second to last group, like, I'm looking at the leaderboards, like, okay, we're still, 4 back or 3 back, like, even though, so it was, but yeah, this win was definitely, like, the highlight of my career by far.
Yeah. It stands out. So when you talk about the Open, and I didn't get to watch the beginning of it, but I got caught up later on, like, how much were you in his ear on that? I think you guys have a good relationship, it seems like, and you do your thing no matter what, but like, how much were you in his ear as that was unfolding in the first, 5-6 holes?
Every hole, I just was like, okay, hey, that's, the first hole was a great bogey. You know what I mean? Like, he laid up in the rough. And so I'm like, okay, no problem, anyways, 2, great drive, great second shot, hits, I'm like, go right at it, and then it hits the pin, but he wanted to hit like a gap wedge to control the spin, and I was like, no, it's a perfect sandwich, whatever. And then so when he hit it, the crowd was like, ah, and then, I didn't see it hit the pin, and then all of a sudden I hear the crowd go, ah, and then I'm just like looking at the thing, and then I see it roll back, and in my head I'm like, why didn't you hit the gap wedge, because I thought it spun off.
Spun too much. I mean? Yeah.
Then I was like, but then, we realized that it hit the pin, and then I'm like, all right, you hit a good shot, and then he hits a good chip, misses the putt, and it's like, okay, you didn't do anything wrong there. It's okay, like, and then, bogey's the third hole, and so, like, the whole time, I'm like, it's okay, blah, 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 like, and then 4, we finally make a par, because he got another bad break. He hit a rake, so it didn't go in the bunker, like, so you had to have this baseball swing. Anyways, he lays up in the bunker, hits a good shot, but he makes a par, so I'm like, all right, usually we're like, with a birdie, it's like, all right, good shot. But like, I was like, all right, we're off the schneid, like, but then, and then on number 5, he, makes another bogey. So I had given him all these talks and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's the end of the talks, like you have to like, we're good now or whatever. And so he said, I just want to like be comfortable and hit like a good shot, so we're like, so he's talking to me. And then, so the next hole, Victor hits like a 6-iron, like 30 feet past the pin, like good shot. That's where you're supposed to hit it. And so the wind's like right to left. And then, so I'm like, okay. He pulls out his 5-iron and I said, no, it's a 6-iron. We're going to drop, we're going to hit a flighted draw 6-iron. He's like, I like the 5. I'm like, no, it's a perfect draw 6. And he's like, isn't it in the wind? I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, so he hits like a good shot. And of course the wind gusts up and the club comes 20 feet short, into the bunker short. And and he's like, I just wanted to hit a comfortable shot. Like, obviously he didn't want to hit that. And I was just like, and so for myself, I was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So that was a good like lesson for me too. But
little overcapping.
Then of course he made another bogey, and I'm just like, okay, good job, man, way to go. We're gonna shoot 100 today. But
but the thing is, like, if that was happening in the John Deere Classic this week, like you go out and you bogey 5 out of the first 6, like you're toast. The tournament's probably over no matter where you're at because there's but it was the U.S. Open, and you've been in these golf tournaments that are tough and the scoring's tough, and that nothing, that anything can happen. So you got to keep your guys' head in the game.
No, I mean, I'm also saying like, all right, this is gonna happen to everybody. This happens to everybody. I'm glad that it happened right now. You know what I mean? So it's not how you start; it's how you finish. So it's not like, but in the back of your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, like what's going, but yeah, for him, what a battle back. I mean, that just shows you like his character and so that was crazy.
Who else have you heard from on the texting and the phone calls? Like I saw you on the Today Show with JJ, our boy.
But I couldn't talk when I was like, so.
Well, who else have you heard from? Did you get did T-Dub send you a text, or who have you heard from?
No. Well, I don't have his number, so I don't. Maybe he did. No, just kidding. I like a lot of like Andy Martinez, like
nice.
Cubby, like a lot of caddies that I haven't talked to like in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool. Like Keegan Bradley called me Sunday night, and of course I didn't have his number. So like, and then I saw him, on Wednesday at Hartford, and he's like, "I called you," and I was like, "Oh," because I didn't even look at my, and so like that was funny, like listening to his message and stuff. But it was awesome. Like,
I saw a picture of Bones carrying the flag from 18, and he was going, like, he must have grabbed it because he was commentating for the last group, and you guys had finished ahead. Do you remember receiving that from him?
I do, yeah. That was awesome. I texted him saying thanks for the flag because I definitely would have forgot it. But yeah, so that was cool that he did that for me. He's awesome.
One of my favorite shots of you was they did the trophy ceremony, and you got the platter, and you had a beer in your hand. You were getting things started on the 18th green, which is exactly what I would have done. But it was just like the ultimate caddy moment, where it's like, "Yep, let's get the party started."
Yeah, of course, that was awesome. My fiance didn't like it.
She didn't like that. I understand that. But this is like
all my friends liked it. So I mean, whatever. Why wouldn't you have a beer? You got to sit out there. So,
right.
And the caddy bib was perfect because it just held them all. So
a couple in there. Yeah. So were people? Hey, around there, people are drinking. What's the local beer there that it's like the oldest beer in America?
I drank Helltown. It was awesome. It was
Helltown.
Like because in the caddy area they had like beers and stuff for us, and so that's what I was drinking all night. And it's kind of a cool story because these girls at the that gave us the beers, they actually bought me a shirt that said Helltown on it. Like on Sunday, they're like, "Oh, we have a present for you," and I was like,
that's cool.
So that was really nice.
That's
I
awesome.
I guess because I drank them out of it, but it was fine. No.
uh, JJ spoke about, I don't know what it was at a press conference or on the Golf Channel, about your late father, Eddie. And I didn't know about this, and probably not many did. And you pointed to the sky after I saw that, and it sounded like you and JJ had kind of figured out a way to channel your dad out on the golf course over the last year or so. It's just unbelievable to hear that it kind of came full circle on Father's Day, and maybe that was kind of almost to the day that your dad had passed away. I mean,
It was that Sunday that it was exactly a year from that day that he passed away.
that's incredible. I mean, I lost my dad a couple years ago. Think about him every day, and so I know a little bit how you feel. But for it to kind of come out in a moment like that at the U.S. Open, when golf's like one of the most important things to you, and that's what you do for a living, and your player gets a chance to win, and you just know that those things kind of line up. I guess, just tell me like what the emotions are thinking about all that. Not
Well,
trying to
yeah, it
cheer up,
was.
but
I mean, when he passed away, like we played in a tournament, then I think like the next week, and so I was like, it's okay, because now when we hit it in the rough, Eddie's gonna take care of us and stuff, and so literally every time he hits it in the rough, like, JJ's like, come on, Eddie, like on 14 when he hit it in the rough, we're walking up to the ball, and I was like, and he's like, come on, Eddie, give me a lie. And then we get up there and you can see the ball. Like, it was pretty, I mean, it was hitting a wedge, but, and he was like, thanks, Eddie, so that's like basically but like on number 2, when he hit the pin and, it rolls off the green, I'm like, what are you doing up there? Are you kidding me? Are you like drinking a beer? Like, did you forget about us? What are you doing? So it was
that's
pretty funny.
great. That's great. Well, Eddie probably, but JJ was hitting the ball so well that week. Every time I turned on the TV, he was down the middle of the fairway. His swing was so dialed, and then the rough looked just horrific. I mean, it was really good TV to watch these guys trying to think that they could hit it out of lies and then not do it. And it seems like for the most part, you guys didn't have to deal with that for the week because his swing really was so dialed.
Yeah, well, pretty much every time we hit it in the rough, we just laid up because
Gotcha.
you couldn't hit it, or even in the I mean, but in some bunkers we got a couple good lies, but then a couple. He got a lot of good breaks in the fact of like, but I mean, we chipped out a lot of times too. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you took your medicine and
Yeah,
tried
we
to get
just
it up and down with a wedge.
yeah. Try not to make a double, which he did. So he didn't make a double, so that was pretty cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's huge. Let's talk about the putt on 18 and kind of work our way backwards. I know you've referenced some of these things too. I want to break down the celebration too because I thought it was a great celebration. I mean, you got the umbrella in your hand too. I did see a bumper sticker the other week. I don't know if you've seen this, but this person has a bumper sticker. It says, "I bought my lab putter before JJ Spaun won the U.S. Open."
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about on 18. You had to two putt it basically. I mean, it was a long ass putt, but he was feeling it on the greens, especially after you guys came out of that rain delay. Talk us through kind of the discussion and the read, and then kind of when it goes in. I know you said you kind of blanked out a little bit, but you kind of just exuberance and kind of making sure to congratulate your guy.
Well, he literally, actually, so he hit the best drive ever on 18. Like, I think that was better than 17, even though 17.
Mm-hmm.
But to hit that drive on 18, and then he had hit a good 6-iron in there, and then Victor hit his, and then we're walking up there, and literally we're both like, "Thanks,
Right.
Ed," because his ball is literally right behind ours. So I mean, so of course we watch Victor hit his putt, and
Sure.
so we go through our thing, and he's like, right, we pick out a spot, and so the spot was right here, and then literally he hits it, and all I look at was where the spot that we sit, and he rolled it right over it, like. And so then I'm just like looking at, because I was like, okay, that's good. Like, and then I'm like looking at it, and then I'm looking at it, and then, then shock hits. I mean, that was the loudest roar that I've ever heard. So it was, and then I don't know what I did. I can't remember. I don't remember him like picking me up and like flinging me around. And then my friends were like, you almost wiped out. And then I was and I was like, oh my God, I kind of did. And then I tried to get his putter because he threw his putter. And people were like, he threw his putter. Like, I didn't see him. And then it was in the bunker. So I had to go down and get the bunker. But there's like people behind us. There's a group behind us. So the club was like sticking, not all the way in the bunker, just the head was. And so I kind of remember getting it, but I don't. And then I I know I didn't rake but like there's a group behind us. What if they hit it and then they're like, what is this? It's his putt, but thank God that didn't happen. But then I don't remember like him picking me up and doing all that stuff. That was crazy. Or like pointing to the sky and stuff. Like, I don't.
Right.
I just don't.
Well, I think that fits with your personality. I mean, and the moment and stuff, like you're always so present and locked in on what your job is out there. It's always fun to watch you caddy. And he made 3 big putts on the back 9. He had the one coming out of the break. How would you describe those greens? I was out at Oakmont in 2007. I think my guy wasn't in it, but Pepsi was in it with Johnson. And so I just stopped by for a day and watched, and I was like, man, this place is tremendous. I don't know if you had been there at either of the other previous ones, but, you're in on all the putts all week long. Like, what was your game plan for the week on the greens, working with JJ and just, seeing, because he started rolling the rock?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the speed, just get the speed right and there's like a lot of putts too that like it has so much break, but you have to like hit it up the hill, even though then it goes sideways, you know what I mean? So it's like, they're just so tough to like, because then if you go more at it, then it's going to go, 10 feet by. So you have to go up to the right and then let it take 4 feet of break. But then you have to go up the hill. So if you forget that you go up the hill, then it comes up 6 feet short. You know what I mean? Yep. So they're just getting the speed right. That was like our main focus. Like, and he started working with like Josh Gregory. Like, that was literally his first week with him. And so he, we just did drills like that. Basically what we were doing before, but Josh just had like, a nice thing that we did every time. So it got his speed pretty good.
It just dialed him in. And that was kind of my next question because, Schreiber, his coach was there. Then Josh Gregory comes in the picture that week. And it's funny how, like, when guys win tournaments, like, there's usually just, like, a little thing that's a little bit different that week that helps them out. And you look back on it, and maybe Josh was one of those guys. But the real talk was, like, JJ said that this rain delay that happened was, like, the ultimate reset. You referenced earlier the rough start, and then the rain comes and you guys get a break, and you guys, it says like, hey man, this is exactly what you needed, and you're still in the tournament. Like, what were some of the messages you were saying, or how do you remember that whole, from the moment the horn blew to when you went back out there, and then he drips in maybe 2 holes later? I think it was, you guys played 9, and then he came back down on 10 once it started, and he makes the putt on 10, and it's like, oh man, here we go. Like, talk about the rain delay and how important that was and the part you played in it.
Well, yeah, he made 2 really good pars on 7 and 8, and then it started pouring down rain, and so 9 is basically the hardest tee shot that you could hit on the course, if not the hardest, then whatever. And so it's pouring down rain, and then he's like pulls out his driver or whatever, and then the horn blew, and it was like, okay, like, and he's like, all right, this is the break we needed. Now we got it, and I'm like, yeah, like, and then we had to walk up the hill, and he just like, his mind switched like right away, like to be like, okay, this is, I'm going to go change my clothes. Like, I'm going to go, this is it, like that was basically how it was like. And then we went in and he changed, and Tribes was like, hey man, we're 4 back. Like, with 10 holes to go, like, we take this is where we want to be. You know what I mean? And then JJ's like, I mean, there was no like, it was like, okay, this is exactly what I needed. Because like at TPC, we had that long rain delay, and he was the one that came up, he was the best player from the rain delay, like he was the one that put the charge on to, so he, it was just a great thing that happened
Yeah, and you talk about the players because I was thinking about this and I forgot about the players a little bit in the last couple of weeks. But you guys go to a playoff the next morning with Rory, finish second. Obviously, you had a nice run at the players before with Siwoo Kim. You know that place well. Like, how much did that Players Championship from March help out? I'm sure it was immensely, but how much did that translate? For winning the U.S. Open.
I think it was huge just because on that stage, how he literally, I mean, missed. I thought he made that putt on 18 to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously he beat Rory on Saturday. Like obviously he just gained so much confidence. On 17, we obviously the wind's gusting up to 40 miles an hour, and he literally hit a great shot, like a great swing, and it went over the green. And that's on me, because it as a caddy, if the ball goes long in the water, if it goes short in the water, and they hit a good shot, well, they did their part, so that's when you have to step up. And so, without, he didn't do anything wrong, he could have won that, you know what I mean? So I think that gave him a lot of confidence. So
to know that he could do it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like even if you go back a year, it sounded like he's talking about maybe, this isn't maybe for me, I don't know if I'm going to make it as a pro. Like some of these guys come out from college, just say Aubert, he knows he's a stud and he goes out and he starts winning right away. Although he's kind of been a little dry lately. When JJ, I remember meeting JJ when he was just coming out of college, and him and Seamus came up in the same graduating class, and good college player, but he's always been a little bit of a journeyman, and you guys got that first win together at Valero. Just talk about the journey with JJ from when you started on the bag with him, and just kind of how you've seen his confidence grow to that moment where at the Players, he got himself in the mix and could have won the golf tournament, didn't, bounces back, gets himself up on the mat, and then now he's the U.S. Open champion. How did you think he navigated that?
I mean, when I first started working with him, he had just got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which I only know. Yeah, so I don't know, I only know from what he tells me and stuff, so I know what it is. But I mean, he lost 30 pounds, so, and then so obviously he's dealing with that, golf doesn't even really matter, you just want to be healthy and stuff. But so that's, and when I started caddying for him, he just got, his patch, and so he was on the upswing, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And we had a lot of good rounds, but we didn't really finish off. I mean, we had a couple good tournaments, but he was so far behind that he would have to win a tournament to keep his card, you know what I mean? So, but he was playing pretty good. He just, it's basically just all confidence, But then we had to go back to the Q school, and he finished second, so that locked up his card. So he knew that he was going to be back on tour, and I think that just gave him the confidence to, and you have to obviously play well, in some tournaments, and which he did, and then he got his first win, and then, then he realized okay, I am, good enough. And so,
and now he's up to he's one of the top 10 players in the world at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Freaking U.S. Open champion. My buddy Hiram, who I've had on the pod before, he's out in Arizona, big black guy. He covers golf for the African American community. He loves golf. In fact, he was out at the Phoenix Open this year. He interviewed Scotty Scheffler a little bit, and he follows it, but he really likes to follow the black players. And he said, "Ask Mark." He goes, "A lot of people think that JJ's a black guy, and he's not." He goes, "Does Mark notice that people in the gallery are talking about that and stuff and also he was wondering why is he so underrated? Because people slept on JJ a lot, and now he's a little bit more of a household name, and he got it done, and he showed people how big of a study is. I remember watching Paul McGinley on the live from JJ popped up there afterwards, and Paul was like, "Dude, can you play on our Ryder Cup team? Like you're a baller. I love your game. And he's, a little guy just like Paul, like they're scrappy and get the ball in the hole. So talk about him being underrated too. And then Hiram's kind of wondering, he's like, did people think JJ's a black guy? Like he's not. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, I literally like people like him, like where they cheer for him and stuff. But literally, like at the U.S. Open, like that's all that I heard were people cheering for him. Like they really like and each I think it's like after TPC, like when he lost, how he carried himself, like he was so gracious, talked to anybody, like it was cool.
He's well liked in the locker room too.
He's like real, you know what I mean? So
he is a good guy. He is a good guy. All right. Well, I want to get a couple more things before we get you out of here. You guys are heading to Scotland for when this pod drops. You'll be over in Scotland, which is awesome. We were talking about that before. You're not going to bring your clubs. You're going to play every night at North Berwick. Talk about the playing golf with your buddies in Scotland thing. I have not experienced this yet.
I mean, it's awesome because you're staying right there and you just walk out to one of the best golf courses in the world, and they let us play there. And like me and Schreiber, his swing coach, we play every single night during regular tournaments. So it's like, even if it's 100 degrees, like, I mean, it's like we played at Oakmont, after we got done playing. I have some buddies that have courses there, but like, so it's just fun. Just what else are you gonna do? Sit in your hotel room or whatever? But
and it's light later too, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And well, over there, yeah, it's light until. Well, I'll tell you a funny story. So, Brian Vranish. So we were staying together, and so we were drinking, obviously, and so we had played there's like this par 3 course right next to where we're staying, right next to North Barrett. So we play there, come back, there's a bunch of us, we're all drinking, and for some reason he says like that I can't par I was like, let's go play now, and he's like, you can't par whatever. So for some reason, one of the guys, Tim Gillis, he had a headlight, so he's like, I have a headlight, and so he bet me $100 a hole in the dark, but so Tim could just light up his head one time, and that was where the pin was, because I thought it was going to be like the moon would be out and you could see stuff, and we just played there, but it was literally like pitch dark. But anyways, so he does the light, everyone's out there. I par the first 5 holes, and then he's like, no more light, we're playing $100 a hole, whatever, and he's like, no more light, and then I'm like, I don't even know where the holes, it's pitch flat. But anyway, so we get to the 9th hole, and the hotel is right there, and it's like 2:00 in the morning on, Thursday night or whatever. And so then there's no air conditioning in the hotel, so that everyone leaves their windows open.
Right.
So and JJ's staying there. So it's like 2:00 in the morning, and literally we're screaming and stuff. And then the next day he was like, dude, I could hear you at 2 in the morning out there. And I was like, oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. So, and then, well, you got to be stoked. You probably haven't seen JJ since your little media tour there, and you've probably been texting or calling a couple times throughout. I mean, that'll be fun to walk on the range for the first time, right, there in Scotland, and then the next week at the Open Championship.
Well, we got to play.
You played Travelers. That's right. I forgot about that. My bad.
So that was awesome having him introduced to the U.S. Open. And he was so tired, like that, and then we're playing with Scotty and stuff. And
yeah,
so it was pretty funny. It was good.
Yeah. So have you been to Royal Portrush before?
Yeah.
You were there in 16 or whatever, 19 was it? When
9.
Shane won?
Maybe. Yeah, where Shane won. I caddied for Siwoo there.
Siwoo. Okay, so give us just a little bit of tidbit on Royal Portrush. In 2 weeks, what's the caddy tips from the top on that?
Well, it's a funny story. My dad is actually a member there. Well, he's not here, but he
really.
Because when we played there, like he took me to Scotland and Ireland, and so my sister has like his certificate. Like she showed it to me. It's where it's like. Because you can, for 500 pounds, you can be like a overseas member. So
yeah.
So my dad's a member there, so he's gonna come up. He's gonna watch us out there too.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, it's awesome, man. It's like obviously you got to hit the fairways, and open courses are like in the practice round it could be dead into the wind and you hit driver, and then like now in the tournament on Thursday that's opposite wind and like you got to hit like 4-iron off the tee, other you know what I mean, because of all the bunkers, and so it's just a real strategic type course, but it's awesome. It's
And on the when you guys showed up at Oakmont or going into that, some of these U.S. Open venues these days, some of these major championships or any tour stop, right? It's like favors the bomber or a guy that's a long hitter, and JJ puts it out there plenty far enough, right? But some of these guys really move it out there. Did you know going into that week, having been out at Oakmont before, or just kind of knowing the condition of the golf course, is like, hey, this is one that we can pick off because you're not having to be, hitting it 320 carry.
Yeah, no, I mean he's definitely like long enough. Like I call him optimal prime because he just hits it in the center, So it's like whatever, he's 177 and somebody who's 195, but he spins it more and JJ hits it dead in the nuts. Like it's like he hits it just as far as him. But I knew that it was a good course for him because you have to hit it straight. Like literally, if you miss the fairway, it's like a one-shot penalty because you're just chipping out, So I thought it was going to be good for him, like just because he hits it so straight. But yeah, it was. And my buddy Mark Miller, do you know Mark Miller? He's caddy for like
Harvard,
Jeff
Mark?
Maggart. No, Mark Miller. He used to caddy
No.
for Jeff Maggart, but he
Okay.
caddies out there now, and he lives like 5 minutes. So I stayed at his house. And
Oh, wow.
he caddied for JJ like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in the practice rounds. Like I'm like, what do you mean? He's the local. He's helping us out here, So.
Oh, really? So you walked along and he carried the bag, or he walked with your group?
No, he carried the bag. I'm like, you got to carry the bag, man. Like,
No way.
Off Thursday, I felt great. I'm gonna do it every week now. But
wow.
No, yeah, he helped us out. Like so it was it was a team effort.
You did caddy for a caddy at the U.S. Open with the guy you're staying with that's a local caddy, and then that was another little factor that helped you guys win?
Yeah.
And you were fresh, too.
He what?
And you were fresh.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to do it every week now. But I did. And then the next week, my nephew caddied for him in the practice or the Pro-Am. So.
Well, you could probably find someone over in Scotland to pick up his bag for 3 days that knows the golf course, too.
I'm going to. I'll find
and then you do it at Port Rush because there's locals there, too. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, see if give me a call for one of these ones in the fall, and I'll come do 3 days for you.
Good. You can come in every week. You got it.
Okay, here's one. Can I do practice rounds for the Ryder Cup? Let's wrap this up because you guys probably going to be on the team and at Bethpage. You're an East Coast guy. Like, I know it's not official yet. Keegan's got your phone number now. So, like, how cool is that to think about, maybe caddying in a Ryder Cup here soon?
Well, every night before I go to bed, like, that's all I think about. So, I mean, that roar that was the loudest roar that he made when he made the putt. And I think that at Bethpage, that's how it's going to be like on every shot. So that's all, like, that would be the greatest thing that I've ever done. If I get to do that, that would be that's all I've ever wanted. Like starting caddying, like that's
awesome. Well, you get things done out there, Mark. You guys got the U.S. Open trophy. That was such fun stuff to watch, and looking forward to watching you guys tee it up here in Scotland and at the Open Championship, and then later on this fall at the Ryder Cup. You got your USA hat on already, 4th of July, the whole nine. So I appreciate you taking some time for me, man, and shedding some light on this. Yeah. So hey, safe travels over there. Say what's up to everybody, and we'll have you on again sometime soon.
All right, perfect. Thanks again. Thanks for having me. Love you, bro. Thanks.